Let's do a quick run through of the Michigan offense heading into 2025. We're going to go through the coaching staff, the projected depth chart, and then maybe just some final thoughts at the end. But I guess we'll just start off with the biggest hire for Michigan this entire offseason, one would think, and that's Chip Lindsey, the new offensive coordinator and quarterback coach. Michigan fired Kurt Campbell after just one season as the offensive coordinator. The offense as a whole was one of the worst in the nation as far as passing offense. It felt like they couldn't throw a forward pass more than 5 yards or maybe just even a forward pass at all. This is going to be really exciting to see all the changes just in 1 year. And I don't think it's fair for fans to expect everything to just completely flip from one season to the next, but you can't get worse. You cannot get worse at passing the football. You got guys under Chip Lindsey that he's coached, such as Drake May, former top 5 pick, Jarrett Stidham, who at one point was an NFL starting quarterback. We coached at Auburn. Great track record, very balanced offenses. He's going to keep the physicality that's in Michigan's DNA, and they're going to throw the ball around. At running back coach, Tony Alford, former Ohio State running back coach and run game coordinator, second year at Michigan. Really, not too much more to say. Has coached some very, very good players. He's got a good stable of backs this year, and we'll get to that, but happy to have Tony Alford on the staff. Wide receiver coach, Ron Bellamy. This is his 5th year on the staff. Started out as a safeties coach, coached the safeties for 1 year. Then he moved to receivers. Ron Bellamy, if anyone's on the hot seat as a coach, it's probably him. Although I don't know if you can really blame him for the way last year went. I know there were times where the routes weren't great from the receivers. They weren't catching balls they should have caught. But that whole thing was just really, really, really bad. Big year for Ron Bellamy, though. Tight end coach Steve Kasula heads into year 2 as the tight end coach. I like Steve Kasula. No problems with him. Got to coach in his first year as the tight end coach at Michigan. Colston Loveland, the number 1 tight end in college football a year ago. So he's got a little bit of work to do this year. Got a great stable of guys. I think you're going to see roughly 5 of those guys in the rotation this year. I don't think there's any star, but that could change. It's a long way to go until the season starts. O-line coach Grant Newsome played at Michigan up until 2016, started coaching in 2018. His career ended with that really gruesome leg injury. Love Grant Newsome. He's a Michigan man through and through. Great for the culture, great for the program. Players love him. Really happy he's still on the staff, and I hope he stays there for a really long time. Going over to quarterback, it seems pretty apparent now with just what we're hearing out of spring ball, what we heard out of spring ball, what we saw from the spring game, and I know the offense wasn't running any crazy plays, pretty basic stuff, didn't want to show any of the other teams around the country too much, but it seems like it's Bryce Underwood's job. It seems pretty evident that he's going to have to really mess some things up to not be the starter week 1. Jaden Davis, great kid. I just don't think he's got the top-end talent to take that job from Bryce or even Mikey Keene when Mikey Keene gets back healthy and is back and participating full in practices. It was between Mikey Keene and Bryce Underwood. Mikey Keene was out due to an injury. Bryce Underwood's job. 6'4", 210, 215-pound, 17-year-old, going to turn 18 right before the season. Kid already looks like he's got, 5 years in the NFL physically. He's going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. It's just going to be fun to watch him progress from week to week. But if week 2 at Oklahoma, things don't go well, I really hope the fans don't get too upset and they can understand this is a young quarterback starting as a true freshman. He's going to learn, and he's just going to get better, especially with the raw talent that he has. So as far as I'm concerned, Bryce Underwood's going to be the starter. He's going to get Mikey Keene to back him up. Jaden Davis I have as my third string, and whenever Davis Warren gets healthy, he'll also be in that room. But I think it's great for Bryce to have Jaden Davis to push him, and then two fifth-year seniors in Keenan Davis that can really help him and give him a lot of advice and just help him grow from week to week. I think that's going to help his progression go a lot faster. It sounds like Jordan Marshall has taken the reins as running back one, but it's a long season. You're going to need two great backs, and I'd expect the split on the carries to be 50-50, maybe 60-40 Jordan if he's really, really doing well in camp and he starts just mauling defenses early in the season. But two great backs there. Obviously, Ben Hall transferred out. But it's sounding like Micah Kapana is doing really well, and he's probably going to take that running back 3 spot. So good stable of backs. The receiving room, this one's really interesting. So Donovan McCulley, from the sounds of it, is the number one receiver. He's going to be their X. He's going to be their big guy on the outside, 6'5", 205, that can go up, high point the ball, beat guys one-on-one. It's a 3rd and 6. He's going to be the guy you're looking to. It's not going to be Colston Loveland. It's going to be Donovan McCulley. I remember when he was a true freshman in 2021, and he was actually the starting quarterback for Indiana, and he played in the big house against the Wolverines, and you could see on some of his runs when he would scramble to throw the ball, he's just a freak athlete, and he's big, and he's fast, and he's strong. I'm excited to see Donovan McCulley in this Chip Lindsey offense with a quarterback with an arm like Bryce Underwood getting the ball to him. I think after Donovan McCulley, you have a significant drop-off, at least from what we're hearing at the moment. And this is not a popular take. I feel good about Frederick Moore. I think Frederick Moore is going to be a reliable, solid number 2 Big Ten receiver. Nothing special, nothing, he's not going to be a 2nd, 3rd round draft pick, but I think he's going to be a really, really solid player for them. I think when he had his moments late in the year, he made some really great plays. Obviously, the touchdown against Alabama was a great catch, but I feel good about him. He's very, very fast. He doesn't talk too much. He really just minds his business, puts his head down and works. I think Frederick Moore is the wide receiver, too, that Michigan's going to have rolling into the season. After that, you just have so many guys. You got veterans like Peyton O'Leary, Kendrick Bell, in the slot, guys like Samaj Morgan, Anthony Simpson transferring in, CJ Charleston, who is recovering from an injury from a year ago. We've heard a lot of great things about Jamar Browder, that he catches everything. I think he's got a really bright future. Shannon Goodwin, we've seen a lot in clips and heard a lot about him. Andrew Marsh, I think, is going to be a really good player in the future. Jacob Washington, who I don't even think is in Ann Arbor yet, but a big-bodied receiver. I think he's going to have a really bright future at Michigan. But at the moment, I just feel like you've got Donovan McCulley, you've got Frederick Moore, and then there's just everybody else. But long off season, we'll see what happens. The tight end room I feel pretty good about. I think Marlon Klein's your starter. I think Hogan Hansen's more that receiving tight end. Brady Prieskorn we've been hearing a lot of good about. Zach Marshall heading into his 3rd year. We haven't been hearing too much about Deacon Tonielli. I do think he'll end up being more of a blocking tight end, but a big-bodied guy. Wouldn't be shocked to see all 5 of them getting decent snaps this fall, just keeping that room fresh. Nowhere close to a Colston Loveland in that room for any of these 5 guys, but 5 solid dudes that you can rotate throughout the season, keep them healthy, keep them fresh. So we're going to fullback, Max Bredesen, right, the captain, the sledgehammer. Enough said. Backing him up, I have Jalen Hoffman, and then 3rd string right there, the freshman Eli Owens. The offensive line, this is another area, this and receivers, where it's just kind of like, what are they going to do something more with the portal? Are they just going to keep what they have and see who comes out on top? Apparently, it was reported like a week ago that they were going to go after a transfer at left tackle. As of recording this, nothing's happened. We'll see. Maybe before I get this out, there will be breaking news about someone transferring in. But just heard some murmurs, and what it sounds like from the staff is they feel really good about the offensive line having 3 starters, and those being Greg Crippen at center, Giovanni El-Hadi at, I believe, left guard, could be right guard, one of the guard spots, and Andrew Sprague at right tackle. Left tackle and the opposite guard spot from El-Hadi are open. And I know people were really, really tough on Evan Link a year ago. He was a redshirt freshman, second year college ball. I think he's going to progress. I think he's going to get a lot better in summer and at fall camp. And by the time the season comes around, he's going to be a solid starter. But from the sounds of spring ball, he wasn't doing too great. And I understand Michigan's defense is really, really good, and their defensive line's probably the deepest in the country, just when it comes to rotation. But man, you really hope Evan Link can hit his stride, because I feel really good about Andrew Sprague. Crippen and El-Hadi are fifth-year players, veterans who nothing's going to rattle them. They've seen everything. I really hope Evan Link can become that guy and win that left tackle spot, because you don't want to be questioning your left tackle when you're going to Oklahoma week 2 with a true freshman at quarterback. With how good Oklahoma's defensive line is, someone comes from the blind side and hits Bryce Underwood, and he's not prepared for it. Not going to be good for the rest of the year. So, and it sounds like Nathan Afobe is going to take that other guard spot opposite of El-Hadi at the moment, at least. Lawrence Tatar is battling for it. Transfer from Ferris State. Brady Norton. They're just kind of moving him everywhere. Not the biggest guy, about 6'3", 295, but really athletic, and apparently he's been doing really, really well in spring ball. Andrew Babaloa, looking like a 5-star, doing a really, really good job in spring ball and is looking the part, is what we're hearing. Ty Haywood still hasn't come in yet. The offensive tackle they got to flip from Alabama. I think he's going to have a great Michigan career. And then at center, backing up Crippen, sounds like Jake Ganera, I hope I pronounced that right, is looking really, really good and is actually pushing Crippen to really be on top of his stuff each and every day. So other than that, quarterback I feel good about, running back feel good about, tight end feel good about, fullback feel good about. Receiver, I think Donovan McCulley's your guy. I feel like Fred Moore is going to be a solid 2. Who's going to be that third option? I don't know. Could be Anthony Simpson. Could be Samaj Morgan. Could be Kendrick Bell. Could be Andrew Marsh. Could be Channing Goodwin. Could be Jamar Browder. I don't know. Any one of those guys could be the guy. So just overall thoughts, I guess, from all this, from all my yapping, is passing game can't get worse. You have a guy in Chip Lindsey who coached Jarrett Stidham, who coached Drake May. Now gets to coach arguably the most talented quarterback physically to ever come to the University of Michigan. Offensive line, they got to solidify those last 2 spots at left tackle and the opposite guard of El-Hadi. Running back room looks phenomenal. Marshall and Haynes, they're going to kill it. Tight end room, 5 guys deep. I think, Klein and Hansen are going to get a majority of the snaps, but Prescore and Marshall and Tony Ellie, wouldn't be surprised to see them get significant snaps either. Who's going to emerge as the third wide receiver? Again, feel good about Donovan McCulley and Frederick Moore, but we'll see what happens. And overall for this team, we already previewed the defense. The defense is going to be great, just like it was a year ago. But they're not going to have that top-end talent on the defense, but they're going to have more depth. The offense for this Michigan team to make a run in the playoff doesn't have to be great, doesn't have to be a top 10 offense. If they can be balanced, make their opponents respect the passing game, not allow them to load the box with 7-8 guys, and have an offensive line like they've had for the last 4 years, this is a team that can make the playoff and make some noise. So overall thoughts, That game week 2 at Oklahoma, I think, is really going to show a lot about Bryce Underwood's mental game more than anything physical. Not sure exactly how many fans fit in Oklahoma Stadium, but I'm sure it's around like 85,000. If he can get through that game, play well, I'm not even talking about win or lose. If he can get through that game and play well, going to Nebraska, gonna be fine. Going to USC, gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be okay. So, big game week 2 at Oklahoma, expecting Bryce Underwood to be the starter week 1. And this offense for 2025 doesn't have to be the best thing ever in the world, but just be solid. Just be balanced. And this team's going to make some noise this year.